friends, have you seen a fatty liver list online?
I'm going to show you a fatty liver fix that is so fast it'll make your head spin.
Well, every fatty liver list tells you to cut carbs, and then you can cut out the fat in the liver. But that advice has been out there for decades. So why does fatty liver keep getting worse? Here's a problem with every list out there. They're all trying to drain the tub, but nobody is actually turning off the faucet. And until you turn off the faucet and address things at its root, it doesn't matter how fast you drain. So in this video, I'm going to show you 20 foods that actually improve fatty liver. Foods that not only drain the sink, but it turns off the faucet at the same time. I'm going to show you how I score all these foods. And if you stay with me till the end, you'll really be surprised at some of these foods. My name is Dr. Lou, and I'm a double board certified physician for 25 plus years. And I have watched what happens when people follow the wrong advice for too long. It's not pretty, folks. Today, we're going to stop that. Now, before I explain the scoring, I want to show you 3 special foods that'll perfectly illustrate visually what I'm trying to explain in my words. So number 1 is a purple sweet potato. Now, this is a triple action food. Most people walk right past this in the store, and that's one of the biggest mistakes. The purple sweet potato is not the same plant as a white russet potato. They are completely different species and have completely different metabolic effects on your liver. So take a look at that purple color. That is a compound called anthocyanin, a polyphenol, the plant's defense molecule. Now, when you eat it, it becomes your defense too. And here is what anthocyanins do inside your liver. It activates something called NRF2. Now think of the NRF2 as in a liver's emergency repair switch. And when that switch turns on, your liver starts producing its own internal antioxidants. It reduces oxidative stress, which is basically the rust forming inside your liver cells. It also reduces inflammation, and it reactivates your immune system for repair. And guess what? Purple sweet potatoes has a glycemic index around 50 to 54, whereas a baked white russet potato, 85. So it's nearly as high as sugar. The gap difference is your liver being able to keep up or to fall behind. A lower glycemic index food means that there's less sugar flooding all at once. Then there's less overflow, less fat manufactured, less damage accumulating. And here's what most people miss about this food. They think sweet means dangerous. Sweet does not mean dangerous. Concentration is dangerous. A person's sweet potato delivers its sugar inside a fiber and water matrix. It's slow, it's controlled. Soda delivers concentrated sugar with nothing to slow it down. The same with many juices. They're completely different results. How does it slow the flood? With fiber and water as a matrix that controls the rate at which your liver sees the sugar. Does it burn fat? Of course it does. Anthocyanins improve insulin signaling directly inside liver cells. Does it repair the damage? It allows your body to do that by preventing fat from being collagen. You can eat it many different ways. You can eat it baked or grated or raw or stir-fried with tofu and carrots, or put some broccoli sprouts on top of it. That's generally extraordinary, powerful food. And that's why it's number 2. This is another triple action food. This is not your typical broccoli crown. Broccoli sprouts are just germinated baby broccolis. Tiny, peppery, and one of the most powerful liver foods on my entire list. And this is why. Broccoli sprouts contain glucoraphanin, concentrations of which are at 50 to 100 times higher than mature broccoli. So when you chew them, glucoraphanin converts into sulforaphane, and sulforaphane turns on that NRF2 switch that we just talked about. But it does more things, especially in a case of fatty liver. Number 1, it accelerates the liver's 2-phase detox process. Phase 1 breaks toxins apart. Phase 2 packages them for removal. Sulforaphane speeds up phase 2. Toxins don't just get broken down, they actually are forced to leave. Number 2, it reduces inflammation in liver cells. Fat in the liver causes a lot of inflammation, and that inflammation is what drives fatty liver towards permanent scarring. So here's what most people miss. They buy broccoli and they eat very little of it. Maybe it's because it's cheaper or they like the taste of it. And they're walking right past broccoli sprouts, which is up to 100 times more concentrated amounts of sulforaphanes. You just eat a handful. Does it slow the flood? Yeah. Zero starch load, no insulin trigger whatsoever. Does it help burn fat? Yeah. Sulforaphane directly improves the liver detox and fat clearing capacity. And does it help your immune system repair the damage? Yes. Reduces liver inflammation that drives the liver towards scarring. Triple action food. How to eat them? Rinse them well, eat them raw, put them on top of everything. There's no cooking required. And that peppery taste, well, that is sulforaphane. That's a compound working. Now, if you cook it, you basically cook it away, unless you add some mustard seed powder at the end. Aim for 4 to 5 servings of leafy greens every day and make broccoli sprouts a consistent part of that diet. Now, number 3 are lentils. That's also another triple action food. And here's what most fatty liver lists fail to say about lentils. They actually don't say anything about lentils. They're not on the standard list. And that is one of the biggest gaps in conventional nutrition advice. Lentils are amongst the most metabolically powerful foods that you can eat for your liver. So here's why. Every lentil is wrapped in a fiber-rich coat. And inside that coat is something called resistant starch, which is not absorbed by your body, but it goes to your small intestines and then all the way to your colon, completely intact to feed your friends, your gut bacteria. The gut bacteria then ferment it, and that fermentation process produces butyrate. And this is why it's important. Your gut and your liver share a direct highway. Scientists call this the portal vein. It carries everything absorbed from your intestines directly to your liver. So before it goes anywhere else in the body, the liver gets first pass. And with gut bacteria produced butyrate from lentils, that butyrate travels up the portal vein straight into your liver. And inside your liver cells, well, butyrate, it reduces inflammation. It improves insulin signaling. It helps your liver cells burn fat instead of storing it. But here's the part most people have never heard. Lentils, they don't just lower your blood sugar at the meal you eat them. They lower your blood sugar response at the next meal, hours later, even the following morning. Now, scientists call this the second meal effect. You eat lentils for lunch, your liver handles dinner better too. That is how powerful gut to liver signaling is. So does it slow the flood? Absolutely. Its glycemic index is around 25 to 30. It is one of the slowest glucose releases of any food. Does it help you burn fat? Absolutely. Butyrate directly improves liver cell insulin response. And does it help your immune system repair damage? Absolutely. The second meal effect keeps clearing inflammation between meals, not just during the meals. That's triple action effect. And here's what most people, they don't get. They avoid lentils because of gas. That's a gut training problem. That's not a lentil problem. So you start small, you work up gradually. A few weeks in, and you'll probably tolerate it fine. Now, if you're in a hurry, red lentils dissolve into soups quickly. Green and black lentils, they hold their shape for salads. Cook them in low sodium, maybe some turmeric, cumin, garlic. It's satisfying and it helps your liver work even better. Now, do you see a pattern? Every one of these foods, they do more than just reduce fat in your liver. They're not just slowing sugar absorption. They reduce inflammation by working at multiple levels at the same time. And here is the simple way I want you to think about every food from here on forward. Ask these 3 questions. Number 1, does it slow the flood? Whole foods with fiber, that's how you control the flood. Fast fuel hits the liver and floods it. Number 2, does it support fat burning? These compounds that activate liver cells in these plants, they help clear fat. And number 3, does it repair damage? Well, polyphenols and antioxidants, they reduce inflammation to optimize your immune system and metabolism to heal self. 1 question answered, good. 2 questions or even better, 3 questions, oh my gosh, that food probably will help you reverse fatty liver. Everything else just treats the symptom while the faucet runs. By the way, if you find values in my videos, could you please check if you're subscribed? When you like, comment, and subscribe, it actually helps my videos reach other people. And if you are subscribed, thank you very much for joining me to change the world. Now, there's one more thing you need to understand, because without this, you will keep making the same mistake that is so common. Now, most people think fatty liver comes from eating carbs. And they tell you to cut carbs and you cut the fat. Here's what they get wrong. Not all carbs are the same. Think about it. I just mentioned 3 foods that require you to chew, like a carrot or blueberries. Seriously, is that the same blood sugar response as drinking soda, juice, or eating white bread? They're all full of carbs. No, they're not the same. And this is why. Your liver packs more fat into storage when one hormone gives the order to do so, and that's insulin. Insulin is a storage signal hormone, and foods high in fiber, especially soluble fiber, reduce insulin. It's not just for that food, but for your entire meal. So the quality of your carbohydrate reduces fatty liver. Fiber-rich foods reduce the total calories eaten. Refined starch makes people overeat calories, and excessive calories gets packed in as fatty liver. There's another fatty liver trigger, fructose. But you need to eat a lot of it to overwhelm your gut and to get it to your liver. Whole fruit, that's hard to do that. In fact, the more whole fruit people eat, the less fat they have in their liver. However, concentrated sugar, like fruit-flavored stuff, high fructose corn syrup, table sugar, that will easily do that. And people are simply overeating food and over-drinking highly sugary foods at a pretty high rate. Think about it. You don't eat scoops of table sugar alone. It doesn't taste so good. But if you add flavoring and then you add water, you got yourself a hit drink like a soda. And when you add fat and then texture, oh my goodness, you just made yourself a cookie. And that tastes so delicious that you're just going to eat more. This overwhelms your liver and triggers a surge in insulin that stays higher for longer. And ultimately, what type of fat are all those excess calories being stored as in the liver? Saturated fat. So whether you eat saturated fat directly or your body makes it from excess calories, your liver gets insulin resistant and traps more liver fat. That's also why alcohol is so damaging to the liver, amongst other reasons. It has more calories than pure fat. How does the liver convert excess calories to fat? It makes them from scratch. Scientists call this de novo lipogenesis, which simply means manufacturing new fat from something that was not there before. Now, when sugar floods in fast, let's say you're eating candy, soda, sweetened anything, your liver handles all of it alone. And when more arrive than it can process, it gets manufactured into fat. That's how you get fatty liver. You've been overeating, folks. Now, the second part is this. This is a part almost no influencer will address. Insulin resistance the right way. This is a faucet that nobody turns off, and when your liver cells are flooded with fuel repeatedly, they stop responding to insulin normally. Your pancreas panics, makes more insulin in the beginning, and high insulin tells your liver don't burn fat, store it. So now you're in an endless loop. More insulin, more fat, storage, more insulin, resistance, more insulin, more fat, storage. And that loop is what people mean when they say, I can barely eat anything and I still can't lose weight. They're not wrong. The loop is real. And here's the part that changes everything. You can break that loop with good quality food. The right food scored in the right way. And that's the power of this list. So number 4 is barley. This is another triple action food. Most people, they're reaching for rice, white rice, even brown rice when they want a healthier grain, right? Brown rice has a ton of arsenic, folks. I don't count that as healthy. But barley is a completely different league. Now, here is the difference. Barley is the richest grain source of fiber called beta-glucan. I'm sure you've heard of it in many of my videos and understand that beta-glucan is important to reduce cholesterol. But for fatty liver, it does something even more important. Beta-glucan is a soluble fiber. It dissolves in water and it forms a thick gel inside your digestive tract. That gel creates a barrier between your food and the portal vein, as well as the enzymes that break it down to sugar. So all this slows down metabolism, it slows down absorption, there's less overflow to the liver. But here is what most people miss about barley. It also directly improves how the liver handles cholesterol. Beta-glucan binds to your bile acids to prevent the gut from reabsorbing cholesterol. And your liver has to make new bile acids using the cholesterol in your bloodstream. This forces your liver to actively clear cholesterol. And why does that matter for fatty liver? Because fatty liver isn't just about fat. One of the most dangerous forms is called NASH, non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, which involves cholesterol crystal forming inside the liver cells. And when that happens, the liver cells activate inflammatory pathways. Fatty liver progresses towards scarring, and barley's beta-glucan reduces the cholesterol pool available to form those crystals. Does it slow the flood? Yeah, the gel slows the flood of glucose dramatically. Does it burn the fat? Yes. It can feed gut bacteria that produce butyrate for the liver. Does it repair the damage? Yeah. Actively clears cholesterol from liver cells before it becomes inflammatory. That's triple action. And here's what people miss. They buy pearled barley. That's the wrong choice. Pearling removes the outer bran layer, the fiber layer, the layer with a beta-glucan. However, get whole barley. And 45 minutes cooked on the stovetop should do it. The faster way would be doing it in the pressure cooker. Start with half a cup of cooked barley per day and use it as a rice replacement. Pair it with lentils. Now, number 5 are edamame beans. That's another triple action food. Edamame beans are basically young soybeans, and most people eat it at sushi restaurants and they forget about it the rest of the week. That's a mistake. Edamame contains a compound called genistein, a type of isoflavone. Genistein does something very specific inside your liver. It inhibits lipogenesis. Remember the process where the liver makes new fat from excess carbohydrates? Well, genistein tells your liver not to do that. It also activates AMK, the cell's energy sensor. Think of AMK as a signal that tells your liver to stop storing and start clearing. When AMK is activated, liver cells shift from fat storage mode to fat burning mode. Edamame also contains lecithin, a phospholipid that helps your liver package, store fat, and ship it out. When lecithin is adequate, fat leaves the liver. When lecithin is low, fat are stuck. And edamame contains choline, critical for that export. Researchers can create a fatty liver in animals simply by removing choline from their diet. You restore it, you help the liver clear its fat. Now, does it slow the flood? Absolutely, because of the resistant storage and complete protein profile. Does it help burn the fat? Absolutely, because of AMK activation shifts for the liver cells and fat burning model. Does it repair the damage? Yeah, genistein blocks new fat production while lecithin ships out the ones that are already there. Edamame is one of the few plant foods with all 9 essential amino acids that complete protein profile, helps rebuild liver cells, membrane damaged by inflammation. Steam it with lemon with a pinch of black cumin or shelled into grain bowls and salads.
If you point your camera app to this QR code, it'll take you to a link for a free handout that I created just for you. And if you like it, if you want to see other handouts, please go to the link in my show notes and then you can leave me your feedback on what I could do to help you in your journey. Okay, back to the video now.
Number 6 are Adzuki beans. That's also another triple action food. Most people have never eaten any Adzuki beans, and that is a gap worth closing. Adzuki beans are tiny red beans. They're deep red, and they're one of the highest polyphenol concentration of any legume. That red color is the same compound family as a purple sweet potato, anthocyanins and condensed tannins. But Adzuki beans add something purple sweet potatoes don't. They directly improve insulin signaling inside the fat cells. Now, most people think insulin resistance only happens in the liver. It doesn't. Your fat cells become insulin resistant too. And when fat cells are insulin resistant, they actually release free fatty acids into your bloodstream, uncontrolled and continuously. Those free fatty acids, they travel directly to your liver, and then they add to your liver fat. So fat cells with insulin resistance feed liver fat. Now, Adzuki beans anthocyanins improve that fat cell signaling. Fat cells stop releasing those uncontrolled fatty acids, so less arrive at the liver. Less fat accumulates. Does it slow the flood? Absolutely. Resistant starch and soluble fiber slow glucose absorption significantly. Does it help you burn fat? Absolutely. Those polyphenols improve insulin signaling in both liver and fat cells simultaneously. And does it help your immune system repair damage? Absolutely. That reduces lipid peroxidation, the chemical damage that makes stored fat toxic. That's triple action. Cook it until it's soft. Then you can mash it and spread it like hummus. It's slightly sweet and earthy. It pairs perfectly with fruit, especially dates, and you can even blend it together. It is delicious. Notice what every food so far has in common. None of them are on the standard fatty liver lists you see from other influencers. And every single one answers at least two of those three questions. Most answers all three. And that's the difference between treating the symptom and turning off the faucet. So if you keep watching, you'll learn the next group where most people have the biggest daily gaps. That's number 7, chickpeas. Absolutely, it's another triple action food. Chickpeas have the lowest glycemic index of any common legume, around 28. White bread sits around 75. Now that is not a small gap. That is the difference between a trickle of fuel and a flood of sugar. But here's what makes chickpeas uniquely important. And it has really nothing to do with fiber alone. Chickpeas, they contain saponins and phytosterols. Both compete with cholesterol at the absorption sites in your gut. Less cholesterol absorbed, less reaching your liver, less available to form those crystals inside those liver cells that drive inflammation. Chickpeas also contain a specific prebiotic fiber called galactoliposaccharides. It selectively feeds the most beneficial gut bacteria, specifically bifidobacterium, which produces compounds that travel through the portal vein to your liver and reduce inflammation. That's selective action. And that's the key word. Not all gut bacteria need the same food or feed on the same food. Feeding the wrong ones will actually make fatty liver worse. Chickpeas feed the right ones. Does it slow the flood? Absolutely. It has a glycemic index of 28. It is one of the slowest glucose releases of any food. Does it burn the fat? Absolutely. Prebiotic fibers feed the bacteria that send anti-inflammatory signals to the liver. Does it repair the damage? Absolutely. Saponins and phytosterols, they reduce cholesterol loading in liver cells. Triple action food. You can roast it. You can add smoked paprika and cumin. You can add them to cold salads with lemon or make thick hummus. And be careful on the tahini and olive oil if you're actively trying to reduce liver fat. The chickpeas alone are not enough. The point is that you need to eat low-calorie foods to jumpstart the fat burning. Number 8 are ground flax seeds, another triple action food. Flaxseed is 3 liver tools all in one. Tool 1, it has soluble fiber, gel forming that creates a physical barrier inside your gut that slows absorption of everything, glucose, fat, cholesterol, all simultaneously. Tool 2, it has lignans, plant compounds converted by gut bacteria into enterolactone and enteroldiol. These protect the liver tissue from the oxidative stress that makes stored liver fat progress towards inflammation. And tool 3, it has alpha-linolenic acid, a plant omega-3 fat, not identical to fish-derived EPA and DHA, but still is very supportive for anti-inflammatory pathways inside your liver cells. And a 2025 review confirmed that regular flaxseed consumption improves your lipid profile, your blood pressure, your body weight, your fasting glucose, all simultaneously. That's every upstream driver of fatty liver. One food. Now here's what people consistently get wrong. They're eating whole flax seeds. Whole flax seeds pass through your digestive tract largely intact. You absorb basically almost nothing. So please grind them or buy them pre-ground. That is the only version that actually works, unless you really, really cook it very, very well. Does it slow the flood? Absolutely. That gel fiber slows absorption of everything that enters after it. Does it burn the fat? Absolutely. The lignans protect the liver cells from oxidative damage during fat processing. And does it help your immune system repair the damage? Absolutely. ALA supports anti-inflammatory metabolism inside your liver cells. 2 tablespoons a day. You can add them to oatmeal, to smoothies, to salads, to dressings, or you can use it as a binder for black bean and barley patties. They hold well together and they add so much nutrition that most people just don't realize is there. And number 9 are whole oats. That's another triple action food. And we're not talking about those flavored instant packets of oats. We're not talking about oat flour. We're talking about whole oats, steel-cut oats, oat groats. Oats contain beta-glucan similar to barley, but oat beta-glucan does something different. Most soluble fiber doesn't form a gel until the small intestine or colon. Oat beta-glucan forms it in the stomach. Gastric emptying slows. Food leaves your stomach more gradually. Glucose enters the bloodstream slowly, steadily, controlled. The peak blood sugar rise is lower, and it returns to baseline gradually. Now, here's what most people get wrong on the list about oats. If you're insulin resistant or already have fatty liver, you're going to see a rise in blood sugars after eating oats. And you may be tempted to think oats are bad. That's a reactive form of thinking, and it is not correct. If you continue to eat oats and start cutting out refined carbs and saturated fat, your blood sugars will get better and better with the same oats that you're eating. This is what good whole grains, especially oats, can actually do for your metabolism. They change a metabolic environment so that your body can handle them better. That's nuance. That's missing from every top standard fatty liver list. Does it slow the flood? Absolutely. Gastric gel slows glucose release significantly. Does it burn fat? Absolutely. Beta-glucan feeds butyrate producing gut bacteria. Does it help your immune system repair damage? Absolutely. It improves insulin sensitivity, especially when you eat it cold. So that's why overnight oats may be a good idea. Cold increases resistant starch content significantly. That shifts more of it to past the small intestine to get to your gut bacteria to use it. Now, number 10 are chia seeds. That's actually another triple action food. You drop chia seeds in water and then watch what happens. Within minutes, I would give it about 20 minutes, each seed is surrounded by a clear gel. 10 times its original size, potentially. That gel is mucilage, a thick, water-soluble fiber. Inside your digestive tract, it coats everything. Every carbohydrate molecule, every fat molecule, every sugar particle. And all of it has to pass through that gel before reaching your intestinal wall. That slows absorption meaningfully because that gel does not let sugar rush through. Chia also contains alpha-linolenic acid, omega-3 lignans, and a unique amino acid called tryptophan. Tryptophan is a precursor to serotonin. Better serotonin regulation reduces cortisol. And if you haven't heard, cortisol is your stress hormone. Too much cortisol directly promotes liver fat storage. Now, most people do not connect stress hormones to fatty liver. You really should. So chia seeds, does it slow the flood? Yep. It's a gel, and it slows how fast your sugar that you're eating in that meal reaches your bloodstream. Does it burn the fat? Yep. Omega-3s actually support anti-inflammatory fat metabolism. 2 tablespoons soaked overnight in unsweetened plant milk. And by morning, you got yourself a thick pudding that you could top with sliced kiwi or add some orange slices or apples and stir them dry into soups or grain bowls and let them expand. That's another easy way to eat them. Number 11 are sorghum. That's another triple action food. Most people have never heard of sorghum. That is exactly why I want you to know about it. Sorghum is an ancient grain from Africa, one of the most studied grains for metabolic health, actually. And lots of animals eat it. It has a profile that's unusual. First, sorghum contains slowly digestible starch, not resistant starch. It's actually different. It is absorbed, but so slowly that it extends the energy curve over several hours without high blood sugar spikes. Second, sorghum contains 3 deoxyanthocyanidins, unique polyphenols found in almost no other food. These specifically inhibit NF-kappa B, a key inflammatory pathway inside liver cells. NF-kappa B is a signal that pushes liver from stable storage to active inflammation. Inhibiting it slows that progression directly. And third, sorghum's fiber matrix is usually pretty dense. Most grains soften when cooked, which raises their glycemic index. The structure actually breaks down, and that accelerates absorption. But sorghum keeps most of the structure intact after cooking. The slow digestion rate doesn't change much whether it's hot or cold. Does it slow the flood? Absolutely. Slowly digestible starch, one of the gentlest glucose curves on any grain. Does it burn the fat? Yeah. 3 deoxyanthocyanidins inhibit the inflammatory pathways that drive fatty liver progression. And does it help your immune system repair the damage? Yep. It reduces NF-kappa B signaling that turns stable fat into toxic inflammation. It's also gluten-free. Even without celiac disease, gluten sensitivity can trigger some gut inflammation that sends damaged signals through the porta vein directly to your liver. And in that case, removing gluten can remove this signal. Cook it like porridge or pop whole sorghum over high heat. It pops like tiny, crunchy spheres. It's genuinely delicious scattered over a salad. And number 12 is watercress. Ever heard of that? That's how they're a triple action food. Watercress is one of the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet by weight. Most people have never tasted it. It belongs to the cruciferous family of plants. Same as broccoli. It contains isothiocyanates that activate the nerve 2 repair pathway, but it adds something broccoli doesn't have in equal measure. Phenylethyl isocyanate, PEITC, inhibits the action of stellate cells. And this is why stellate cells matter. They live inside your liver. In a healthy liver, they're pretty dormant, they're quiet, they store vitamin A. But when the liver cells are inflamed, stellate cells, they activate, they leak vitamin A, and then they lay down collagen. The collagen in the liver forms scar tissue. That's called fibrosis. Fibrosis is one step from being cirrhotic. PEITC may help quiet stellate cells before the scar tissue forms. That's not treating the symptom, folks. That's targeting the progression of a mechanism that can contribute to cirrhosis. Watercress also contains alpha lipoic acid, which regenerates other antioxidants after they've been used up, extending the life of, let's say, vitamin C and vitamin E inside your liver cells. And let's not forget vitamin K, essential for your liver function to clot. Your liver produces clotting proteins. All of them require vitamin K. When the liver is damaged, deficiency leads to easy bruising. Watercress helps to support this important function of the liver. Does it slow the flood? Yep. There's no starch. There's no insulin trigger. Does it burn the fat? Yep. Nerve 2 activation improves liver cell repair and fat clearing capacity. And does it help the immune system repair the damage? Yep. PEITC inhibits stellate cell activation and scar tissue formation. Now, you can eat them raw with beets or orange segments or wilted briefly in broth. The peppery taste often is softened with warm liquids. Now, number 13 are beets. That's another triple action food. Beets contain a pigment called betalain, that deep red jewel color. Betalain, though, is not just a pigment, it's a potent anti-inflammatory compound studied for liver protection. Now, here's what it does. Betalain reduces lipid peroxidation, which causes chemical damage that happens when fat molecules inside liver cells are exposed to reactive oxygen species. Think of it like, your fat going rancid inside your liver cells. Lipid peroxidation is one of the key drivers that pushes a stable fatty liver into active inflammation. And when stored fat becomes damaged fat, it's far more dangerous. The good thing is betalain interrupts this process. Beets also contain betaine, trimethylglycine, critical for the liver's methylation pathway. Methylation is how your liver detoxifies compounds and manages homocysteine. When methylation is impaired, homocysteine builds up. Elevated homocysteine is an independent risk marker for cardiovascular disease. Low betaine intake is directly associated with an increased liver fat and higher liver enzyme levels. And beets contain a ton of dietary nitrates, which if you convert it into nitric oxide, it relaxes blood vessels and improves blood flow. Better blood flow means insulin and glucose reach muscle tissue faster. More glucose goes to the tissue, then less will go to the liver. Does it slow the flood? Yep. Nitric oxide improves muscle glucose uptake, reducing overflow to the liver. Does it help burn the fat? Yep. Betaine supports methylation and detox pathways in the liver cells. And does it help your immune system repair the damage? Yep. Betaine prevents lipid peroxidation, stopping stable fat from becoming toxic metabolites. Now, you can roast beets, wrap it in foil, bake it at 400 degrees, or without the foil. You can slice it over watercress, add some lemons and walnuts, or you can blend it with raw ginger and orange. Now, eat the peel, unless it's visibly dirty. Number 14 are walnuts. That's also a triple action food. Walnuts are the only tree nut with a meaningful amount of ALA omega-3, but that is not the most interesting thing about them. Walnuts contain elagotannins. Gut bacteria convert elagotannins into urolithins, and urolithins activate something called mitophagy. Mitophagy is your cell's process of clearing out the damaged mitochondria, replacing them with healthy ones. Now, think of mitochondria as a power generators inside each liver cell. You damage the mitochondria, you can't burn fat efficiently. They cannot process the glucose properly. They generate inflammatory signals instead. Now, fatty liver cells, they often have severely dysfunctional mitochondria in the first place, but urolithins can help clear the broken generators and replace them. This directly improves each liver cell's ability to metabolize fat. Walnuts also contain arginine, an amino acid that produces nitric oxide to improve blood flow and insulin delivery to muscles. And the fat profile in walnuts, well, they are high in polyunsaturated fat, actively reducing the inflammatory response when eaten alongside saturated fat. Does it burn the fat? Yep, urolithins activate mitophagy, replacing damaged mitochondria and liver cells. Does it repair the damage? Yeah, it helps your immune system improve the function of the mitochondria directly, increasing fat burning capacity in liver cells. Eat roughly 7 to 10 walnuts a day. Now, be careful with the oil and salt. The polyunsaturated fat in walnuts is pretty dedicated. Overheating and salting can damage the oligotannins that you're trying to eat. Number 15 is green tea. That's another triple action food. Green tea appears on every fatty liver list. And here's what every list gets wrong about it. They're actually counting the wrong teas, and they count too much of the supplement version. Green tea contains EGCG, epigalactocatechin gallate, one of the most studied polyphenols for liver health. EGCG does 3 things specifically for fatty liver. Number 1, it inhibits fatty acid synthase, the enzyme your liver uses to manufacture new fat from carbohydrates. It blocks that enzyme. Therefore, it blocks the production of fat. Number 2, it activates AMK, the signal that tells your liver cells to shift from storage to burning. And number 3, it reduces liver inflammation by inhibiting NF-kappa B, the same pathway sorghum targets. Now, multiple clinical trials have shown that green tea extracts can reduce ALT and AST liver enzymes that rise when liver cells get damaged and fall when they're healing. Now, here's what most people miss. Decaf green tea still has EGCG. Bottled ready-to-drink green tea, that has microplastics. So the best options are Japanese matcha, Gairoku, sencha, shade-grown young leaves. But here's a critical mistake that turns green tea harmful. High-dose EGCG supplements. Sometimes one capsule, that can be equivalent to 50 cups of tea. And long-term use of those doses have shown in some people to cause liver damage. It's not the tea, folks. They're not drinking tea. They're taking a supplement. Now, if you add lemon to your tea, that can increase EGCG absorption. But don't add milk. Milk protein binds to EGCG and blocks it. Brew it to 160 and 180 degrees Fahrenheit. You don't want to boil it. That degrades it before it even reaches your cup. Now, does it burn fat? Yes, it does. Does it help your immune system repair damage? Absolutely. Now, number 16 is ginger. That's a triple action food. Fresh ginger contains gingerols. Dried or cooked ginger contains shogalls. Shogalls are more potent than gingerols for liver protection. In clinical trials, people with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, when they were given ginger at doses available through food, it reduced their liver fat content, liver enzymes, blood sugar, and inflammatory markers. This was all simultaneously compared to placebo. Now, here's the mechanism. Ginger activates PPAR alpha, a receptor that tells your liver cells to burn fat rather than to store it. When PPAR alpha is activated, the liver increases fat oxidation. It pulls stored fat out and it burns it for fuel. Now, ginger also reduces TNF alpha and interleukin 6, inflammatory messengers that activate stellate cells. Less TNA alpha and IL-6 means less pressure towards scar tissue. And ginger also improves gastric motility. Food moves through at the right places in the right timing. When food moves too slowly, fermentation concentrates in the gut. Inflammatory compounds can form potentially, and then they travel through the portal vein to the liver. With ginger, you have better transit, clearer signaling. Does it slow food absorption? Absolutely. It improves gastric motility, preventing the gut to liver inflammatory signal. Does it help to burn fat? Absolutely. PPAR alpha activation increases fat oxidation directly in the liver. And does it help your immune system repair the damage? Yeah, it reduces TNF alpha and interleukin 6, slowing stellate cell activation and scar formation. Fresh ginger can be grated into everything. Soups, salads, stir fries. Dried ginger in many spice blends. Sliced fresh ginger simmered in hot water with lemon. That's one way to eat a liver supportive drink that you can make right now. Number 17 is pomegranate. That's another triple action food. Pomegranate is one of the richest sources of punicalagins. They are polyphenols so large that they're not absorbed in the small intestine at all. And that's actually beneficial, and you'll understand why a little later. But here's what people miss. The rind has the most amount of polyphenols, the densest part of polyphenols in the food. Specifically, it has punicalagin, ellagic acid, and gallic acid, which are all strong antioxidants and anti-inflammatory molecules. And these antioxidants, they go straight to the colon unchanged, where the gut bacteria ferment them into urolithins, the same beneficial compounds that you got from walnuts. And that's why in NACPro Plus, we put a pomegranate rind extract as opposed to putting pomegranates. This is double the mitochondrial cleanup in liver cells. Number 18 are miso. Definitely, it supports your gut and your liver. Surprisingly, this is how it connects. So your gut determines what signal your liver receives all day, right? So when your gut microbiome is healthy, it produces short-chain fatty acids, protective bile acids, immune-regulating compounds. You follow? They travel through the portal vein, and there the liver receives signals to either increase or reduce inflammation, burn fat or store fat. And when your gut microbiome is damaged, let's say from refined starch, added sugar, saturated fat, excessive salt, it actually leaks endotoxins, specifically compounds called lipopolysaccharides, LPS. They cross and they leak through the gut wall. They travel through the portal vein. It activates inflammatory pathways directly inside your liver. This is called gut dysbiosis and is one of the most underappreciated drivers of fatty liver progression on this list. Now, sometimes people need to jumpstart a gut repair, and that is where fermented foods can come in. Miso is a fermented soybean paste. It adds probiotics and isoflavones, including genistein. Now, we already established that it inhibits de novo lipogenesis in the liver with the Edamame beans. But here is what most people actually miss. Probiotics from supplements, they don't have the structural diversity of probiotics from fermented foods. So when you take a supplement, it actually doesn't stay in your gut. Fermented food, however, delivers live bacteria inside a food matrix with prebiotic compounds that actually feed them on arrival. Supplements deliver bacteria that then actually don't stay in your gut. They just don't stay in your system. And as an added bonus, miso is the only sodium salt that has been shown to reduce blood pressure. That is how good soybeans are, folks. Does it burn fat? Yes, it does. Probiotics improve gut to liver anti-inflammatory signals through the portal vein. Does it repair damage? Actually, it does. It reduces LPS endotoxin loading reaching your liver, which is very damaging. And all you need to do is a teaspoon of miso dissolved in warm water. You don't want to boil it. Boiling it will kill the bacteria. Drink it as broth. And it's a very small amount with a significant impact. Number 19 are dandelion greens. That's another triple action food. Now, most people pull dandelions out of their garden as a weed. And from there, they throw it in the trash can, but it really should be going on your plate. Dandelion greens contain compounds called secretospine lactones, specifically teraxane and teraxacirin. Those are what makes dandelion greens bitter, and that bitterness is a liver signal. Bitter compounds stimulate bile production and bile flow from the gallbladder. Bile is a liver's export mechanism. It carries waste products, excessive cholesterol, and fat-soluble toxins out of the liver into the intestine for elimination. Now, while bile flow is sluggish, waste can accumulate. Cholesterol builds up. Stimulating bile flow clears that backlog. Dandelion greens also contain inulin, a prebiotic fiber that specifically feeds lactobacillus and bifidobacterium, same beneficial species that produce butyrate and reduce gut to liver inflammatory signaling through the portal vein. And dandelion greens have one of the highest beta-carotene concentration of any leafy green. Beta-carotene converts to vitamin A in your body. Vitamin A is essential for liver cell repair and regeneration. This is not peripheral, folks. This is essential. Does it slow the flood? Absolutely. Zero starch load. Bile flow opens the liver's export pathway. Does it help to burn fat? Absolutely. Bile stimulation improves the liver's ability to export fat and toxins. And does it help your immune system repair the damage? Yeah, beta-carotene supports active liver regeneration. You can eat dandelion greens raw in a salad. If you use a acidic dressing like lemon juice, it cuts the bitterness. Or you can saute it briefly with garlic and lemon. Start with a small cup and build it up. The bitterness is an acquired taste, and once you acquire it, you'll understand what your body was responding to all along. Now, number 20 is kiwi. That's another triple action food. Now, this one really ties everything together. Kiwi contains more vitamin C per gram than oranges, and vitamin C has a direct role in liver health that almost no list mentions. Your liver synthesizes glutathione, and glutathione's your body's most important internal antioxidant. Every other antioxidant you eat eventually gets used up. Glutathione regenerates them. But when your liver is damaged, inflamed, fat-laden, under oxidative stress, glutathione levels inside the livers, they drop significantly. The liver loses its primary internal defense. Vitamin C is required for glutathione synthesis. And when vitamin C is adequate, your liver keeps making glutathione. Now, when you deplete it, the defense breaks down. Oxidative damage accelerates inflammation that worsens everything. Kiwi also contains actinidin, a digestive enzyme that improves protein absorption and supports healthy gut motility. It also has inositol, a compound that supports the liver's ability to export fat into the bloodstream. Low inositol is associated with fat accumulation inside your liver cells. 2 kiwis per day, eaten whole, including the skin, which has 3 times more fiber than the flesh, have been shown to reduce oxidative stress markers and support metabolic health. Now, does it slow the flood? Absolutely. It has a low glycemic index, high in fiber, high in water. Does it burn the fat? Absolutely. Vitamin C enables glutathione synthesis in liver cells. And does it repair the damage? Yeah. Inositol supports active fat export from liver cells. Triple action. Whole foods. Don't forget the skin. You can slice it over oatmeals or blend it with chia and lemon into a bright green morning drink. You can eat it as is, like an apple. Your liver needs what it can make, and kiwi gives it the raw materials to make its own defense. And by the way, I talked over a lot of issues, including that brown rice issue about arsenic, and I realized I just spoke about it way too quickly. And if you want to learn which rice is best to eat, because I know you love rice, then watch the next video.